I am going to tell you about a woman named Barrett Son, and I am going to tell it plain, because she would not want it any other way. She worked Gate 7 at Vereth Transit Hub for 9 years. Third-tier relay moon, mid-route, nothing glamorous. A way station between places that mattered, full of people who were passing through and not arriving. Cargo logging, mostly. Livestock manifests. The occasional family group flagged for biometric check. Barrett had a badge that said Concourse Operations and a desk that faced the main floor. And she knew that terminal the way a reef diver knows her cove. Every current, every shadow, every shift in the water that didn't belong. I know all of this because I was the child she found. I am Sola of Veleth, and I am 43 years old now, and I have told this story exactly twice in my adult life. I am telling it a third time because someone needs to know what a human woman did for a child she had never met, with no authority to do it, and no guarantee it would work. I was small then, silver-haired, like all Veleth children. I had a transit pass that was not quite real, and a bag that contained everything I owned, which was not much. I was moving through that concourse the way a child moves when she has been told to be unremarkable. Head down, close to the wall, eyes forward. I was 7 days out of the station at Keleth, and I had not slept a full night in any of them. I did not know I was being followed. Not exactly. I knew something was wrong in the way animals know it, in the way the skin knows before the mind catches up. There was a pressure at my left shoulder that had been there since I cleared customs. A displacement in the flow of foot traffic, people moving around a shape that was not there, the way water moves around a stone. I kept watching it, and I kept telling myself I was tired, and the thing kept following me. Barrett saw my eyes before she saw me. She told me this, years later, over tea on a station I will not name, because she would not want the attention. She said she was watching the floor, as she always was, and she noticed a child moving along the east wall of Gate 7, unremarkable, head down, doing everything right. And then she noticed the child's eyes, not where they were looking, how they were moving, tracking, something low and to the left, about 2 meters back, something that was not there. She got up from her desk. Now, you have to understand what Barrett was walking into. What was following me was guild licensed. A retrieval agent with a cloak unit. Legally invisible, legally deniable, registered to a freight company that existed on paper and nowhere else. The thing had documentation. If Barrett had gone to a port security officer and said, "I believe there is a cloaked bounty hunter following that child," the officer would have run a sweep. The sweep would have returned nothing, and the officer would have told her she needed rest. This is what happens. This is what always happens. The guild counts on it. Barrett knew none of this. She just knew a child's eyes were tracking something that wasn't there. She came up beside me, not in front of me, not grabbing, just appeared at my left shoulder, matching my pace, as if we had been walking together for some time. "Keep moving," she said. "Don't look back." I looked back. I said, "Don't." Her hand found my shoulder. Steady. Not a grip, a weight. "I've got you. Walk with me." I walked with her. She took me to the cargo processing window at the back of the Gate 7 bay. It was an alcove, 3 walls, a desk, a scanning unit. She positioned herself between me and the open concourse, and she did not look scared. I want to be precise about that. She looked the way people look when they are doing a thing they have already decided to do and are done thinking about it. "Something was behind me," I said. "Yes. You saw it?" "I saw you seeing it." She pulled a scanner off her desk and ran it over the concourse entrance, casually, as if doing a routine check. The scanner returned nothing. "That doesn't mean nothing's there," she said, more to herself than to me. "A sweep only catches what registers." She filed a movement report. Right there, standing at her desk with me beside her, she entered a formal notation. "Possible unregistered biologic in Gate 7 sector, east wall approach. Child flagged for welfare check." It was a small thing, a bureaucratic thing. It would take 4 hours to route through port administration, and port administration would do nothing with it, and we both probably knew that. But it went on record that she had seen something, that she had acted on it, that a child was present and had been flagged for welfare. She called security anyway. A young officer came, ran his sweep, found nothing, told her she was probably picking up atmospheric compression from the gate seal. She nodded, as if she found this reasonable. He left. She went back to standing between me and the door. For 40 minutes, she did this. Answered comm traffic with one hand, kept me beside her, filed a second notation, called a Velith resettlement liaison she had apparently known for years, a woman named Kaur, who ran placement work out of the hub's social transit office. Got Kaur's voicemail, left a message that was calm and specific, and included the word urgent exactly once. At some point, the pressure changed. I felt it leave, the displacement in the air, the thing tracking the shape of a child along the east wall. It shifted, and then it was gone. No drama, no confrontation. It simply broke off. Because Barrett had filled the gate with paperwork and personnel, and an official notation that a child was present and being observed. And whatever was following me decided that was too much exposure. They don't like witnesses. The guild builds its work on the assumption that no one is paying attention. Barrett was paying attention, visibly, loudly, on the record. That was enough. Kaur arrived 20 minutes later. Small woman, quick hands, the particular efficiency of someone who has moved frightened children through unfriendly places many times before. She and Barrett spoke quietly while I sat on a crate and ate a ration bar that Barrett had produced from somewhere. I do not know what they said. I know that Kaur looked at me twice, once to assess and once, I think, to decide something. She took me with her when she left. At the door I stopped. I do not know why. Children do things they cannot explain, and this was one of them. I turned back and looked at Barrett, who was already returning to her desk, already pulling up the next manifest, already going back to the work of watching a floor that most people moved through without thinking. Why? I asked her. She looked at me for a moment. She had gray eyes and a face that had been outdoors more than inside, and she did not look like a woman who said things she did not mean. Because you were watching something nobody else could see, she said. And you were still walking. You weren't running, you weren't calling for help, you were just walking. Keeping yourself small. Doing everything right, she paused. That's not something a child should have to know how to do. I have carried those words for 36 years. I do not know if Barrett Son is still alive. The hub at Varath was decommissioned 8 years after I passed through it, rerouted out of the transit network when the Pelion corridor opened. I have tried to find her twice and reached dead ends both times. It is possible she is somewhere unremarkable, watching a different floor, knowing every current and shadow in a place that most people move through without thinking. It is possible she is gone. What I know is this. On a mid-route relay moon, with no authority and no weapon, and no proof of anything, a human woman stood between a child and something invisible and said, in the plainest possible terms, not here, not today, not this one. She did it because a child's eyes were tracking something that wasn't there. She did it because that was enough. I have met, in the years since, many people who speak about courage as if it announces itself, as if there is always a moment of decision, a line in the dirt, a confrontation with clean edges. Barrett Son never had that. She had a scanner that found nothing, a security officer who found nothing, a form filed in a system that would process it in 4 hours and do nothing with it. She had 40 minutes and a child beside her desk, and the absolute certainty that what she had seen was real, and she held that ground until the thing following me decided the cost was too high. That is all she did. It was enough for me to be here. It was enough.